Are you still single? Or maybe you're searching for that elusive long-term relationship. Well, change your tomorrow. Hope you've already found that special someone. Let's be honest, dating is rarely easy. The lingering question that many wrestle with is unsettling. Are you unknowingly sabotaging your own chances at true love? The repeated heartache, the failed relationships, the frustration of not understanding where it all went wrong, these are the quiet fears that keep you awake at night, wondering why happiness seems just out of reach. For some, being single is a choice, a deliberate decision to focus on themselves. For others, it's circumstantial. Maybe they've just come out of a meaningful relationship or have spent years dating only to find themselves still without someone truly compatible. This isn't about boxing anyone into a stereotype or labeling every single person. But for those, especially those over 30, who are haunted by the persistent question, why am I still single? The answers may lie deeper than you think. When it comes to love, it's easy to feel like a victim of circumstance. The pain inflicted by others is real, and no, it isn't always your fault. But here's the truth that might send a shiver down your spine. We hold more power over our romantic fate than we realize. We often unknowingly shape the world we live in, influencing how others respond to us both positively and negatively. The question you must ask yourself is, will you continue to see your situation through the lens of a victim? Or will you take control of your love life with intention and purpose? If you're ready to face the truth, it starts by turning inward and confronting the internal battles. The real mystery is what internal challenges are standing between you and the love you seek. The answers may be unsettling, but acknowledging them is the first step toward rewriting your story. Well, here are 5 things that might be keeping you from finding relationships that work and answer the question, why am I still single? What is the reason? Number 1, you have cynical views about love. Most of us at some point have been hurt by the people we trusted. It's an undeniable part of life. The scars left by painful experiences don't always fade with time. They can harden us, make us bitter, and build walls around our hearts. The seeds of this pain are often planted long before we ever think about love in our childhoods, where hurtful interactions shape how we see the world. Over the years, these emotional defenses grow stronger, silently affecting how we approach relationships. Imagine a child craving affection but only met with coldness or neglect. Over time, that child learns to distrust love, to question the sincerity of anyone who shows them care. As an adult, they may not even realize it, but their heart becomes cautious, suspicious. They might push away those who genuinely care, seeking instead the familiar comfort of distance, of partners who mirror the emotional aloofness they've known their whole life. It's not easy to see when we've built these walls. We tell ourselves that we're unlucky, that love just hasn't found us, blaming the world while failing to see that we've been shutting it out. The saying, once bitten, twice shy, echoes louder than we care to admit. When love has burned you before, it's tempting to stop believing in its magic altogether. And yet the pain is real, and you have every right to feel it. Grieving the past, processing the hurt, it's all part of healing. But here's the truth. If you stay locked in the prison of bitterness, replaying your regrets over and over, you risk missing out on the future that awaits you. Somewhere out there, there's someone who will love you for who you truly are, but they can only reach you if you let them in. It's in embracing vulnerability and stepping out from behind those walls that you give yourself the chance to experience the kind of love that heals rather than hurts. Number 2, you've set too many deal breakers. Our defenses, though meant to protect us, often turn into barriers that leave us feeling overly critical and judgmental. It's natural, especially after being hurt by someone we trusted or cared deeply for. Rejection, deceit, or simply being let down by those we thought were different can change how we see the world and how we view the possibility of love. For some, it becomes easy to think, there are no good men left, or women can't be trusted. These thoughts aren't just passing, they grow, shaping how we meet and judge potential partners. Before we even give someone a chance, we start seeing flaws, measuring them against some invisible standard. We tell ourselves that dating this person would be settling without ever truly seeing who they could be or what they might offer in the long run. A friend of mine found herself in this exact situation. For over a year, a kind, intelligent, and genuinely funny man pursued her. Yet, she kept him at arm's length. She convinced herself that he was too into her, labeling him as needy, and convinced herself that any relationship with him would only end in heartbreak, his, not hers. She told herself she just wasn't attracted to him. Instead, she found herself drawn to men who were distant, unreliable, and ultimately emotionally unavailable. Her heart longed for connection, yet she sought it in those who couldn't give it. But at the urging of her friends, she finally gave this man, the one who had been patiently waiting, a chance. What happened next surprised her. On their first date, she saw him in a completely different light. They laughed, shared stories, and discovered a deep connection she hadn't allowed herself to see before. Over time, she found not only companionship but genuine love, a love built on mutual respect and understanding. The man she had once written off turned out to be the one who truly valued her for who she was. Her story isn't unique. It teaches us that when we think we're settling for someone, we might actually be opening the door to something far more meaningful than we've ever experienced. Ironically, we often mistrust those who show us real affection, fearing they'll smother us or get hurt. But when we allow ourselves to let our guard down, we find someone who cherishes us just as we are. It's okay to have standards, to know what you want in a partner, but expecting perfection or rushing to judge too quickly only sets us up for disappointment. Are you running at the first sign of imperfection? Remember, just as you deserve a fair chance, so do they. Relationships take time, patience, and effort. And often it's in embracing the flaws of another person, seeing their imperfections not as deal breakers, but as parts of who they are, that we discover a love that lasts. True love isn't about finding someone flawless. It's about choosing to love someone wholeheartedly, imperfections and all. And in that choice, we often find the deepest happiness of all. Number 3, you have low self-esteem. Change your tomorrow. Sure, you've heard the saying, you can't love someone else until you learn to love yourself first. But how many of us truly understand what that means? When self-esteem falters, when we doubt our own worth, it becomes all too easy to lose ourselves in our relationships. Instead of nurturing our own identity, we start to rely on our partner to fill that gap. We feel unworthy, like any minute they'll figure out the truth that we don't deserve their love. And with every passing day, the fear of being left behind grows stronger, creeping into our thoughts and casting doubt on every little interaction. What could be a simple moment suddenly feels like a red flag. Their small actions, missing a call, a change in tone, become mountains of worry. We begin to expect the worst, creating a spiral of anxiety that eventually pushes them away. This constant fear and suspicion, it's draining for both of you. I've talked to so many people who've expressed these same fears. They long for a fulfilling relationship, something meaningful, but deep down, they hold an even stronger belief that no one truly worth their time could ever be interested in them. It's the harsh voice inside the one that tells us we're too much of something or not enough of anything, too fat, too ugly, too old, too different. And when we listen to that voice, we start to behave in ways that drive people away, even when it's the opposite of what we want. For many of us, staying single isn't because of the reasons we think. It's not the lack of good people out there or some external force keeping us alone. It creates a vicious cycle, one where the more we doubt ourselves, the less we're able to attract the kind of relationship we crave. It's a catch, trapping us in our own insecurities. Some people I've met even struggle to leave the house when they're feeling down. The idea of going out, of being seen, becomes overwhelming. The thought of putting yourself in a position to meet someone feels impossible. Even something as simple as making eye contact becomes a challenge, a mountain too steep to climb. And when they do feel that spark, that attraction to someone across the room, they hesitate, they hold back, doubting whether they're good enough to pursue it. But here's the truth. Learning to love yourself isn't just a cliche, it's the foundation for everything else. The moment you begin to see your own worth, the world around you shifts. You stop waiting for someone else to validate you. You start attracting people who see and appreciate you for who you really are. It's not about perfection. It's about embracing your flaws, owning your story, and knowing that you deserve love just as you are. When you believe that, when you truly feel it, you'll find that love has been waiting for you all along. Number 4, you think you'll lose your independence. You've probably heard it 1,000 times in those rom-coms, the classic line, "You complete me." But let's be honest, that idea isn't as sweet as it sounds. It paints a picture of love that isn't about two whole people coming together, but about needing someone else to feel whole. Deep down, maybe you're afraid of commitment, afraid that if you let someone in, you'll lose a part of yourself, your independence, your freedom. But the truth is, real love doesn't demand that you sacrifice who you are. In fact, the healthiest relationships are the ones where you can stand tall, secure in your independence, while still finding joy in sharing your life with someone else. It's all too easy, especially as we get older, to retreat into our comfort zones. With success, self-sufficiency, and financial security, modern life often lulls us into a state of contentment. The idea of venturing into the unknown, especially in the vulnerable space of dating, can feel like too big of a risk. After a long day, the thought of putting on your pajamas and curling up with a glass of wine feels far more appealing than stepping out into the chaotic world of meeting new people. But that comfort, as sweet as it seems, has a price. There's a voice inside, one that starts off as a gentle friend, encouraging you to stay in, relax, and enjoy your evening alone. It tells you you're fine, you don't need anyone. Just enjoy your solitude. But here's the catch later: that same voice turns cruel. It whispers things like, "You're alone again. What a failure. You'll never find anyone." And the years are slipping away. This inner critic traps us in a cycle where the things that were meant to comfort us end up making us feel even worse. Pajamas and television shows become a shield, blocking us from the life we truly want. The challenge lies in breaking free from that cycle. It's about resisting the pull of your comfort zone, silencing that inner critic, and stepping into the world with purpose. Real love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means finding someone who makes you feel more like yourself. And in the end, it's worth stepping outside that bubble, putting aside the fear, and allowing the world to surprise you. Number 5, you want someone you can't or shouldn't have. We've all been there, falling for someone we know deep down isn't right for us. Maybe it's the allure of the unavailable, someone already committed to another or emotionally distant. Despite every red flag waving in front of us, we convince ourselves there's something irresistible about them. It's a pull we can't seem to shake, even when logic tells us to walk away. But here's the truth: when we fixate on what we can't have, we close our hearts to the possibilities waiting right in front of us. We get so caught up in the chase and the idea of what could be that we lose sight of what's real, of the people who might actually be good for us. The more we obsess over the forbidden, the more we miss out on the connections that could truly make us happy. It's easy to get lost in that fantasy, but if you take a step back, you'll see it's not the unavailable person you're in love with, it's the idea of them. And while you're chasing that idea, the chance to find someone who's genuinely compatible slips further away. Life's too short to waste on the unreachable. It's time to let go of the impossible and open yourself to the kind of love that's meant for you, the kind that's real, honest, and waiting to be discovered. A relationship is a dance that takes two, but one of those dancers is you. So, how are you holding up? Have you ever looked back and wondered what went wrong in past relationships? Do any of the signs we've talked about hit home for you? Or maybe you see a friend struggling in the same ways. The truth is, understanding these answers can be the key to unlocking what's been standing in the way of finding real love. We truly hope this video sparked something in you. What would you like to explore with us next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to change your tomorrow. We're excited to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and keep moving forward on your journey.